Hello, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. Today we're going to talk about goals, some achievable things that you can strive for that don't feel super intimidating, and what I personally want for the next 12 months. Before we start, I just want to put it out there that each goal is so personal. Everyone's resolutions are completely different. I've seen a lot of stuff online over the past week or so where people are saying, you know, you don't need to change yourself, you're perfect as you are, don't feel the pressure to diet and exercise, don't do this, don't do that. Don't do those things if the only reason you're doing those things is because you feel you should. But if they are things that you want for yourself and they are things that will make you feel good, if you suddenly want to, improve yourself, let's say you suddenly start getting really into self-help books, that would have been me, or suddenly you want to start moving more, also me, because I have the range of motion of an 85-year-old woman. I swear, I really do need to start. It's going to be yoga and stretching for me, I think. But there's absolutely no other influence other than my body is telling me, you are deteriorating faster than a nearly 36-year-old woman should be deteriorating. All I'm saying is if you see stuff online that makes you feel like what you're doing is wrong, remember, the messages are supposed to be making the people who feel pressured to do those things for the wrong reasons less pressured. You don't have to change yourself. If you feel good about yourself, if you feel great, you don't want to make any improvements, perfect. The message should be, you do you for you, not for anyone else. And you don't really need anybody else's permission to change your own life. Moving on, I have watched so much content over the past few years about goal setting and resolutions and that kind of thing. And this year, people have really kicked it up a notch and I feel completely underwater in, I'm watching like 20-year-olds being like, this year I want to learn more about cryptocurrency and investing. And I'm like, I'm still trying to drink the right amount of water every day. What is happening? I would like to save some money this year, but I don't think I'm going to be like the Wolf of Wall Street by 2023. But it's, amazing. And there's so much content online about investing right now. It's like a real hot topic. But that kind of blew my mind that almost every single video I watched, people were like, this is what you need to do. And this is how much money you need to invest to have this much money by the time you retire. And I'm like, I feel like it's already too late. It's very stressful. It's very stressful. So we're going to dial that back a little bit. You know, there's loads of videos about that if you're interested, and it's probably a great idea. But I just want to talk about like more easily achievable, bite-sized kind of resolutions. I need really good motivation to commit to anything, to really achieve anything. I need to motivate myself in a way that I know will work. So money saving, for example, I cannot save for a rainy day. My husband's a fantastic saver. He can save money just to save it, just to have it in the bank. That is not me at all. I have a couple of tricky ways, and I'm going to talk about some no-buy/low-buy tips later on this week, because I know lots of people, especially in January, because it's the longest month in the world, will be potentially trying to kind of rein it back spending-wise. Maybe you've got some saving goals for 2022. We're going to talk about that in a separate video. So I do have some kind of sneaky money saving tips for myself, but if I have money in the bank, I'm like, well, what is it for? I can't just have it there. It has to be out of sight. So one thing that I have done this year, which is as close to cryptocurrency as I'm going to get, is overpaying our mortgage. Someone explained this to me this year. I'm specifically mentioning this because I just didn't understand this. I knew people overpaid their mortgage, but I didn't really understand the effect that it could have, like what a massive impact it could have on the term of your mortgage. Because I was thinking, well, let's say your mortgage is £600. Another £600 isn't really £600 because there's so much interest. When you overpay, it's interest free. You're actually chipping that entire amount away. So let's say you overpaid £200 a month in your mortgage. In 5 years, that's £12,000 that you've cleared completely from the balance of your mortgage. It's not the same as £200 of your mortgage payment. It's 200 actual pounds that has cleared from that amount of money. And this is, again, please don't take me as an expert. There's so much information out there, but this is just my circumstance. It completely blew my mind. And in the next year, I am super, super focused on overpayments on my mortgage so that as and when we decide to move in the next few years, we have a much larger chunk of equity to work with. That still in my mind is like, I am saving money. Obviously, you know, it's still variable. Anything could happen. You don't know how much your house is going to sell for, you know. It's not the same as putting money in an account, which feels safer, but who knows? But I feel like I can see that as a real goal. It's also gone. It's not money in my account, but it is working towards something. I also feel safe doing that because I know that my husband is a real saver and he does have a pot of money. Should something absolutely terrible happen, he has an actual emergency fund. And so that's just the way that I have kind of found a workaround for my personality versus his personality, and it works for us. But I just wanted to put it out there. If you have a mortgage, look into it, because even tiny amounts of money, it makes a massive, massive difference over time. Speaking of motivation, I also create a vision board every year. I don't usually share this because it's a little bit woo-woo and not everyone's into it. As I said in my New Year message, I'm going to talk more about this. I'm into manifestation, I'm into the law of attraction, but I know that a lot of people are skeptical. I am a skeptic, and I just want to put it out there. I'm not someone who believes that you can think yourself well. If I was terminally ill, I don't think the law of attraction is going to save my life. I don't think that I'm bringing terrible things to myself if I think negative things. I do think that things have happened to me that I can't explain. I've had what I consider to be signs from the universe that I should do things, that I should not do things, that something is working in my favor. I believe there is something else at work. I kind of believe in the magic of the universe. I do. And for the way that I use the law of attraction and for the way that my belief or my faith in it works, it's only positive because it's not harming anyone and it's not having any kind of negative impact on my life. It is only helping me to maintain a positive attitude and just kind of like a good mindset about things. It helps me believe in myself, helps me believe that things are possible, that perhaps ordinarily it would be difficult to believe that I could do by myself. If I feel like I have a helping hand, I believe a little more that something can be done. If you don't think it's for you, I completely understand. And if you think that it's going to have a negative impact on you, if you think you would focus too much on the negative, then it's definitely not going to be for you. It's more for the glass half full kind of people who want to believe in something but potentially aren't religious. I personally, I am not religious at all. I believe there is something, but I don't believe in one particular thing. But I've always said if someone close to me was really ill, I would be the first one in church. I'm very fickle when it comes to those things. I want to believe in something. And so the law of attraction has really filled that space, that void that I feel like I've always had. That void that probably was looking for some kind of organized religion, and had I been brought up in a different scenario or fallen into a different circle of friends, perhaps it would have been filled with some kind of organized religion. I don't know. But as an adult, I found more and more about this, and I'm kind of ready to talk about it because I feel really confident in what I believe now. So, just putting it out there, we will be talking a little bit about that this year because this is my year of complete authenticity in that I'm only going to be myself and I'm only going to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to try to put myself in a box that other people have made for me. I just want to talk about what I want to talk about. And that is, after 2 years of restrictions, it's the one restriction that I know I can lift for myself. So vision boards fit in with that. But if you aren't kind of super into that, you can call it an inspiration board. And it just basically helps me stay on track. So on my vision board, I could have any number of things and it can change all of the time because I'm incredibly fickle, as discussed previously. It could be inspirational quotes. It could be a picture of something that I really want. At the moment, I can see my vision board behind the camera and I have a picture of a Vegas vow renewal, which hopefully we will finally manage to do at the end of the year. There's a picture of like a lake house, which I'd be totally cool with owning, or going on holiday by a lake. I'm really into a lake. Yoga, I have sort of a lady doing yoga. There's me with a drink in my hand because that's my vibe. I've got a quote that says stay focused and extra sparkly, and a beautiful brunette woman who is basically my inspiration for actually doing my hair and makeup every day. And a little bit of that, I really like her whole look, so let's try and emulate that. I've also pinned up a quote that I wrote down yesterday because I'm doing a book club, which I can talk about in a second, and this is from Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes. And she said, "My destiny rides squarely on the back of my imagination. And I liked that, so I wrote it down and I pinned it on my vision board. But it could be anything up there. It could be, you know, a holiday you want to go on. For me, I'll probably put some pictures up of like absolute dream houses, because that will keep me focused when I think, you know, maybe I'll stop overpaying my mortgage because I want to spend that money on whatever it might be. I'll see the vision board and I'll be like, that's what you're working towards. You want to live somewhere like that. You want to have something like this. This is the life that you want to build for yourself. And that keeps me focused. And so for me, that is what a vision board is. For some people, they believe if they pin it on a vision board, if they write it down, these things will happen. For me, it is more about self-talk. It's more about like affirmations to myself, reminding myself, these are the things that I want. These are the things that this is how I want my life to be. And so I remind myself of those things. Those things can change. I can, you know, swap things out occasionally if I want to, but I remind myself, this is why I'm doing this. My exercise goal is literally just to move every single day. I got really into walking last summer for the first time in my entire life. I was not even remotely interested. All through lockdown, everyone was like out walking all the time. Our house is on a footpath, and every day I saw so many people walking, and it started to irritate me. In what world? I mean, can we just talk about how angry the last 2 years has made people? I personally have to every single day remind myself, you read a headline, you see something on social media, I'm not angry about this. I don't care about this. And I say this to my husband all the time. I say it to my friends. If someone says, have you seen? And I go, whoa, just take a minute, because you don't care about this. You've read a headline that is intentionally inflammatory. It is designed to make you have an emotion of some kind. And it's literally there. It's clickbait, but it's there to make you feel something. So you'll share it, so you'll tell people about it, so you'll click on it, so you'll comment, so you will engage in some way with that content. That is the world that we're living in right now. And it can happen to the best of us, because I really work at not feeling that way. But I was angry about people walking all the time. I'm not particularly proud to admit that, but it's true. And it made me, like, I internalized it. And I think that the reason I was angry was I couldn't be bothered. I didn't want to leave the house. I was probably not in a particularly good place. I had the house full of people all the time. I was working from home. I was homeschooling from home. It was not a fun time. But instead of acknowledging, this is really hard for me, and they're just making me feel worse about myself, because not only am I, feeling like I'm failing at everything else during this lockdown time, everyone else seems to be doing a really good job. Everyone else is exercising every day. Screw them, because I am not feeling that way. Don't feel like I'm living my best lockdown life. And so it wasn't about them. It wasn't about the walking. It's never about the thing that you think it's about. But walking, when I did eventually adopt it last summer, such a difference to my mental health. It was insane. Such a difference. And again, I was angry because everyone told me, and I didn't want it to be true. I didn't want them to be right, but they were. So massive difference on my mental health. It also had a massive difference on like my body. I was so much more flexible. I just ached less, the whole thing. And then it got really dark in the nights, and it's always dark in the nights. The darkness came earlier, and I just didn't prioritize it. I didn't make time. I could leave in the middle of the day and walk for an hour. I could do that, but I want to work and then finish work and then slob out on the sofa. That's what I want to do. So in truth, I could have done it the whole time, but I didn't prioritize it. This year, every single day, I'm not going to say I have to do 10,000 steps a day. I'm not going to say I have to do a particular workout every day. I have to move. Last night, I was on the sofa and I was just my arms were aching, my shoulder. I have to tell you, my shoulder feels so much better today as well, which again makes me so mad because I've been complaining about how achy my shoulder has been. I tried to do a headstand. It was a success, but we saw something on TV. Someone was doing a headstand and I said, I think I could do that. And Lee was like, you can't do that. And I did it. And immediately I was like, that was a mistake. I was so pleased with myself. I did it. My legs were up straight, held myself for like quite a long time. I was really pleased. And I sat down and you know, like when you injure yourself and you like, shake it off like that never happened, no big deal. You know, like if you walk into a door and you're like, no one saw me, didn't even happen. I really hurt my shoulder, like something here I really hurt. And that was about a month ago. And it's got progressively worse. And Lee keeps saying, use your resistance bands, do the stretching that the doctor told you to do for your back and your shoulder. And I just wouldn't do it. I was like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. Last night I finally did it, New Year's Eve, wild New Year's Eve. watching Superstore and I was stretching. I was using, like, doing all the stretches. And I thought, this has to be one of my resolutions. I don't have to commit to yoga every day or walking every day. I don't have to do, it doesn't have to even have to be get outside for 20 minutes a day. Everyone loves to say that. Sometimes it's not a vibe, you know? Maybe I'll go stretch outside in the garden. But sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. You've got other stuff going on and I don't want to set myself up to fail. So I thought, move every day, and that counts. 20 minutes in front of the TV, stretching with the resistance bands, doing some yoga, whatever. It doesn't have to be organised. You can make it fit your lifestyle, make it fit whatever it is that you need to do. Another thing that, honestly, as I'm saying this, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And possibly, because I don't want to do it, I won't do it. But I want to limit lions. I started doing this in lockdown. I got up at 7 o'clock every day, which is not early, I get that. I'm someone who can sleep. I could sleep till 12 if allowed to. I can still lie in with the best of them. I've often thought if I lived alone, I would have a completely different schedule. I would be a night owl. I'd sleep all day and then I'd work at night. That would just be me. And so it's not my natural body clock to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. But in lockdown, when I had the kids home and my mum and dad were living here still, the whole thing, I thought if I get up at 7, I have like an hour and a half maybe where I have the house kind of to myself. So I can get up. I started making coffee. That was when that happened. I started having my routine. And it really did make a massive, massive difference. I got up and I felt like I had some alone time. Lee went to work. I drank my coffee. Maybe I did a little bit of work, like blogging YouTube-wise, the whole thing. And it made me feel great. There was a time during the summertime when I remember Ella got up about 12 o'clock because teenager, and I'd already like painted the fence, and I'd built something and I'd done this. And she said, it's like you've lived an entire day before I get up. And I thought, that's totally it. You can't get more time. That's a huge, like, there's only so much time in the day. But there isn't, because you can have more time. You just have to get up earlier. It's not a great, I don't want to get up any earlier than 7. Maybe I'll stretch myself to 6 on certain days. But there is more time in the day if you want it. There is. I don't need 8 hours of sleep, but 6 might be pushing it. I might try, but I want less lie-in. So on a weekend, I'm not going to lie until like 10 because I feel like I've wasted half of my day off. I'm going to try and stick to early mornings and limit lie-ins. I have one creative resolution this year. Obviously beyond the YouTube of it all, I'm going to start learning film photography. I found an old camera in my dad's stuff when they all moved out. Like, my dad has everything he's ever bought in his entire life, he still owns. And when we were going through everything, I was like, found this box of camera stuff, and I said, I'll be having this. And it's got all the lenses. He's quite an avid photographer. He's got a digital camera and stuff now, but he's got so much old manual camera stuff. So I finally got the right battery for the bottom of the camera, which is for the light meter. I'm kind of learning it a bit at a time. I've got the film in the camera, hopefully correct. My local camera, Photoshop in Tesco, which is super close to me, that actually does 1 hour photos again. I mentioned this in a vlog recently and someone was like, surely this is not a new thing. I said, no, of course 1 hour photos was a thing, but I can't remember the last time I saw it advertised. Film photography. The last time I had to have a disposable camera developed, it took like a week. I had to send it off. It was really expensive. And then they sent it back to me. It was crazy. So to have a 1 hour photo placed really close by also kind of pulled the trigger for me. And I thought, right, okay, I can literally walk there and have that developed. So that's exciting. I don't have to wait that long to see whether or not this has actually worked. So for the next week or so, I'm going to take my first roll of film and we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to do something creative where there's less, like, there's nothing you can do. There's got to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as precious. You can't be so worried because you can't see each photo. Each photo is just completely individual. You can't look at individual. You can't be like, I don't like that, I'm going to change that. Or, you know, I'm really excited about rediscovering that because I've always liked photography and videography. But you can kind of get bogged down in the social media of that kind of hobby. And I'm hoping this is just going to, it's also probably going to teach me more about how to use my digital stuff as well. if I actually learn the manual way. So that's something that I'm hoping to learn. You might have heard of word of the year. Lots of people do word of the year. I've heard of this tons. I am slightly ADD. I'm undiagnosed ADD. This is so funny because if I said I'm not, loads of people would be like, I have watched your vlogs. You are classic 100%. I've been diagnosed by so many viewers over the years. If I said I am, there will be a lot of people that are offended that I would be claiming a diagnosis without actually being diagnosed. From what I've read, it's super difficult to be diagnosed as an adult. I don't feel I needed to be medicated. I don't think that it's impacting my life in a negative way. But after so many people pointed it out through vlogs, which, you know, could be deemed rude to diagnose someone, I don't know, whatever, I did some research of my own, and the more I've read about it, the more I'm like, I really do identify with a lot of this stuff. So at very least, let's say I'm on that spectrum, it's given me a better understanding of why I am the way that I am. I'm a little bit more aware of some of my tells. Oh, you're doing this, I know why you're doing this now. Which has been quite interesting. And that in itself is useful information. But because I don't feel like I need to have the diagnosis, I'm not going to go down that path. But this in itself was... I was saying, because I'm slightly that way inclined, I didn't think I could stick to one word for an entire year. So I've given myself a word of the month. So each month, I've given myself a word that will be the theme, that will carry me forward. It's going to help me kind of have a bit of a reset every single month. I can review my intentions. Intentions is January's word. I have decided on our word, as I mentioned earlier, for the year, which is authenticity, which is just absolutely in every way live as authentically as possible. So just, it's for you or it's nothing. This is the way I want to do it for all of the right reasons, because this is who I am. And that's the whole thing for the year. Within the year, I've got little things. So this year, like I said, it's intentions. And every single month I can kind of review and be like, what do I want for the next month based on the next word? It's also going to help me theme the content that I post on all my social media places. It's going to be a fun little kind of challenge for myself, and also kind of keep things fresh and interesting. So I'm going to do that this year. If you are interested, again, there are tons of videos about the word of the year, word of the month, that I think like it kind of just propels you forward and keeps you focused on what it is. As you know, all of these things kind of slot into that category. Anything that's going to kind of keep me on track. And finally, I want to mention, I have spoken about this on Instagram tons over December, but you may not have seen it already. And I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to have a book club here on YouTube. Every single month, we're going to do a new book. This year is going to be Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes, which is why I have that quote up on my vision board. And I'm going to be listening to it via Audible. You can get whatever method of listening or reading this you want. I'm talking about Audible specifically because there's such a stigma to audiobooks in the reading community. Is it reading? Is it not reading? In my mind, I am probably never going to read a physical book again. I don't have the focus. I do not have the bandwidth to actually sit and focus on reading a book. I'm always doing multiple things at once, and that would be a real struggle for me. Maybe when I was in the bath, maybe, but even then, I very rarely, like, even when I'm in the bath, I'm rarely laying there doing nothing. I'm usually washing my hair, shaving my legs, getting out of the bath. I really struggle with kind of downtime. But that is why I really enjoy the Switch. I love Animal Crossing and Zelda because that's proper escapism. Usually watching TV at the same time. But like, there are certain things where I can immerse myself in the world. So, I don't know, maybe. But I do tend to listen to the most audiobooks when I'm cleaning, working, driving, when I'm doing something else. So just putting it out there. If you want to join along, you can read it, you can Kindle it. She's still reading. You can listen to it, however you want to do it. We're going to have a different book every month. I'm going to announce it at the end of the month, and we're going to then talk about it on the last Sunday of the month. So last Sunday of January, we're going to discuss Shonda Rhimes' The Year of Yes. I'm going to switch up the genres. So if biography / self-help isn't for you, then maybe join us in February's book. I haven't decided what that's going to be yet. So I suppose also one of my goals for the year is a book a month to consume in some way. This is technically a book I've already read, listened to. I again, you see. But I really enjoy this one, and I think it's a fantastic one for a reset in January, because she talks about like setting herself a goal for an entire year, saying yes to the things that scare her. And she also is the creator of Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder. Bridgerton is under her production company, and you can hear her characters in her voice. It's fantastic. So especially this particular one, I think works really well from Audible, because, you know, read by the author. I love read by the author. And that is it. I wanted to kind of give you a full brain dump of this is where I'm at, this is how I'm feeling, this is my kind of goal setting period, as with so many other people's. I wanted to talk through some more realistic stuff. I've seen so many people talk about, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. You should be doing whatever it is that you want to be doing. We have had 2 years of complete garbage. Whatever you think is going to make you happier this year, put it on your goal list, because you don't need to do what anybody else thinks you should be doing at all. Try and make some realistic ones, because, you know, travel might not work so well this year. But also, don't set yourself up so that you feel like whatever it is that you've committed to, you're going to be like, oh, well, I didn't do it that day, so I'm a complete failure. Be kind to yourself. Set things that are going to make you feel good, not things that are going to make you feel bad. And if other people don't like your resolutions, maybe you don't like those people.